He didn't need to steal. All he had to do was ask for money. Jasper's voice, dripping with condescension, was the first sound that really registered as I stepped back into the classroom. My desk was in shambles, my bag overturned, and every pair of eyes, Celeste included, was fixed on me with unspoken accusation. Just days earlier, Celeste had whispered those life-altering words, "I like you." I had believed her, believed that even if we came from two different worlds, our hearts could still find a way across the chasm. Now, with Jasper's expensive watch missing and the weight of everyone's stares pressing down on me, I realized how naive I had been. My fists tightened inside my sleeves, heat flooding my face, fury tangled with a humiliation so sharp it made it hard to breathe. When I transferred schools, I had cut off all ties with Celeste, leaving quietly. Never once did I imagine that someone as universally adored as Celeste would search for me for 7 long years. But now, during PE class, Jasper, the golden boy of the school, claimed his valuable watch was missing. Before I could even process what was happening, he had already ransacked my backpack in front of everyone. By the time I came back, my desk was a wreck. Standing beside Celeste, Jasper spoke coldly, his voice stripped of warmth. "Celeste, Kai is your boyfriend. Tell him to return my watch." Celeste and Jasper had grown up together. Childhood friends with a bond everyone admired. Even I had to admit they had more to talk about than I ever could. Their conversations often revolved around limited edition luxury brands, things I couldn't hope to understand. But this time, Celeste didn't rush to defend me. She quietly straightened my desk, then lifted her gaze to Jasper. Her voice was soft, calm, and devastating. "I'll buy you a new one." The classroom erupted. Whispers cut through the air like knives. "What does that mean? Is that really the class president? No way. He's the poorest kid in school, and he was the only one who came back during PE. Selling that watch could feed him for half a year. I heard his dad broke his leg stealing once." Their words burned. Standing by the door, I felt my face scorch under their stares. The same classmates who used to call me class president, with respect, now turned on me without hesitation. Then someone called out, "Class president." The room froze. Countless eyes swung toward me. Even though I had done nothing wrong, shame welled up inside me, raw and suffocating. I forced my face into stillness, even as Celeste's eyes met mine. For an instant, I thought I saw a flicker of moisture in them. I tried to explain, but no one listened. The more I spoke, the stranger their gazes became. "Forget it," Jasper finally said, feigning generosity. "I don't really need a watch." He declared it lost, closing the matter. But I didn't want to be falsely accused. As he turned away, I stopped him, demanding to check the security cameras. He looked at me with open disdain. I expected him to refuse, but what I never expected was Celeste stepping in to stop me. She moved closer, her voice gentle. "It's all right, Kai. It doesn't matter." Once, her words could soothe me, calm my storms. Not this time. "My father brought me lunch," I said, helpless. "I only came back during PE to put it away. I didn't do anything else. It was braised pork. He made it special for my birthday." But Celeste didn't respond to what I said. "It doesn't matter what you did. I'll handle it for you." Handle it? Why didn't it matter? Didn't she understand how important a person's reputation was? I insisted on checking the cameras, but she kept stopping me. At last, she let go of my arm with a faint smile. Her soft laughter carried an edge of uncertainty, and something inside me twisted. I looked straight into her eyes. The smile was there, yes, but so was suspicion. Her words cut like a knife. "Stop it. Stop acting. You really didn't take it." Jasper's mocking voice piled on. "I remember you saying you were short on cash just days ago. And wasn't it convenient the classroom camera broke yesterday? Kai, are you really that oblivious?" My head buzzed, everything spinning. And suddenly, Jasper's words from before echoed in my mind. "You still don't understand, do you? You and Celeste aren't from the same world." I hadn't understood then, but now it clicked. Celeste, the pampered young lady, still harbored a deep prejudice against people like me. Faced with this, she trusted Jasper without hesitation. She of all people knew how important reputation was, And yet from the beginning, she had chosen not to believe me. The ringing of the school bell crashed through the tension, mixing with Jasper's laughter. Someone jostled my desk. My lunchbox tumbled, its contents spilling across the floor. Pieces of braised pork rolled helplessly before stopping at my feet, covered in dust and scraps of paper. I stared at it blankly, something snapping inside me. But Celeste's voice still came. If you needed money, you should have just told me. Why did you have to do this? I couldn't listen anymore. I shoved my chair back, the screech slicing through her words. I looked at her, disappointment heavy in my gaze. Celeste, yes, my family is poor, but I don't steal. The cold rain outside pierced into me. Hugging the ruined lunchbox, I sat silently on the school steps, numb. Most of the food was gone, but I clung to what little remained. Celeste found me there. Her voice trembled with barely contained reproach. What are you doing running around like this? Don't eat that. It's dirty. Kai, it's just braised pork. Is it worth it? I'll buy you something else. She rarely got angry with me. Once, I might have teased her until she laughed. But now I just wanted to finish my meal in silence. I gripped the lunchbox tightly, refusing her umbrella, refusing her pity. When she stepped closer, I pulled back, holding the box away. Her expression faltered. I stayed silent, eating every last piece under the pouring rain. Only when I was done did she speak again. Let me handle the watch incident. No need. I cut her off. I can handle it myself. She frowned, confused. I told you I'll help. What can you do with your meager allowance? Her words made me want to laugh, but no sound came. Believe what you want, I said instead. Packing the lunchbox carefully, I stood and walked into the rain. I thought I heard her call my name, but I never looked back. After that day, Celeste stopped coming to school. That was the last time we spoke. Jasper let the matter drop, but the rumors spread. Back in class, I caught classmates shoving their wallets deeper into their desks when I walked by. I froze, bitterness clawing up my throat. I had worked so hard to get into this school, stayed at the top of my class. Never did I imagine I'd be treated like a thief, distrusted by everyone. During the remote parent-teacher meeting, I saw someone point at my father at the school gate. Their whispers carried on the cold wind. Isn't that Kai from Class 7's dad? Didn't he break his leg stealing? Like father, like son. The rat's kid steals too. Didn't Kai take Jasper's watch? My father's back stiffened. For the first time, I couldn't bring myself to look at him. Rumors were terrifying. They sliced me apart, piece by piece, until nothing was left. That night, my father said nothing. He just sat in silence, chain-smoking. I lowered my head and whispered, barely audible. I didn't take anyone's. I always remember what you taught me, Dad. He didn't scold me, didn't ask me questions. After a long silence, he finally spoke, his voice heavy with sorrow. Is it because of me that you're being wronged? In the dim light, I saw him force a difficult smile as he looked at me. I'm sorry, son. It's my fault that you have to live like this. His voice was dry, filled with self-blame. It's my fault for letting you live this way. That night, he confessed to me what had happened years ago, though deep down I had known all along. I wasn't his biological son. He had found me as a baby. He wasn't well off, and the year he took me in, I had fallen gravely ill. He had to borrow money from everyone, still just 1,000 short of saving my life. I watched him sink into those memories, his eyes clouded with a pain that time could never erase. I truly had no other choice back then. But once it's done, you must bear the consequences. Once you cross that line, the shame gets etched into your bones forever, impossible to shake off. His voice faded into the night wind. I didn't know if he was speaking to me or only to himself. If it hadn't been someone like me who found you back then, he whispered, perhaps your life would have been much better, wouldn't it? Not long after, my father's condition suddenly worsened. I was on edge constantly, taking leave from school, unwilling to go anywhere except stay by his bedside in the hospital. One afternoon, when I returned with lunch, I froze. Jasper was standing at the door of my father's hospital room. My mood, already low, sank further. Jasper had met my father once before, when he and Celeste came to eat at my father's small diner. I still remembered his disdainful tone. This street stall is so dirty. How can you eat here? You can eat it, but to drag Celeste here too. Don't you think that's too much? I remembered Celeste trying a bite, her delicate brows furrowing slightly. After 2 chews, she spat out. My father stood silently by the roadside, the cold wind cutting into him, watching those rich kids mock what he had poured his soul into. That night, Celeste and I fought bitterly. Now, back in the present, I stared at Jasper, my voice weary. What do you want this time? Jasper laughed lightly. Kai, if you need money, just say so earlier. Sickness doesn't wait. After all, we're classmates. Celeste and I can't just stand by. As he spoke, he held out a card. You know about your uncle's illness? There's a very good hospital I can recommend. But it's in another city. Traveling back and forth will be tiring. The hallway smelled sharply of disinfectant. Jasper and I locked eyes for a long time. Then suddenly he asked, Do you know why Celeste hasn't been coming to school lately? I said nothing. He went on, Because she feels embarrassed. I know her pride better than anyone. That's why I came to see you alone today. His words pierced me like 1,000 sharp needles. My chest ached in waves. From the room, my father's coughing rang out, urgent, haunting like bells tolling. In that moment, everything around me blurred into haze. When it cleared, the only thing left was the lifeline Jasper had placed in my hand. I needed this money. Gripping the card tightly, I forced my voice steady. Thank you. I'll complete the transfer procedures soon and take my father for treatment. I'll repay you, but it will take time. Jasper's lips curved faintly. Who asked you to repay me? As for transferring schools, I won't tell anyone. And just like that, on an ordinary afternoon, my father and I left that city without saying goodbye to anyone. At the new hospital, his condition improved. At my new high school, the academics were rigorous, but I kept up, balancing classes with hospital visits and our small rented place. Thanks to the foundation I'd built, I didn't fall behind. Slowly, my father recovered. When I entered university, I started my own business. Between studying and managing work, I barely had time to think. Month by month, I repaid Jasper, sending money into the account he'd given me. By graduation day, I had finally paid off every last cent. 7 years passed. I never thought I'd see Celeste again. So when we reunited, I was completely unprepared. It happened at a gathering of the elite, the wealthy, the powerful, the kind of place my university friend Finn loved. He had dragged me along. Busy CEO, Kai can't spare a meal with me anymore. Have our brotherhood ties grown weak? He teased, smoke curling from his lips. Finn had been my roommate in university. While most classmates had drifted apart, he and I stayed close. Reluctantly, I agreed. When I pushed open the club door, I paused, a strange premonition weighing on me. Something was about to happen. Inside, as Finn had promised, the air was thick with wealth and privilege. My mood was steady until I saw Jasper. 7 years had changed him. Gone was the boyish arrogance, replaced by a more polished, composed maturity. Still, I hadn't expected to see him there. Clearly, neither had he. His hand trembled, spilling wine. The room was loud, laughter everywhere. Finn pulled me in, cracking jokes, demanding introductions. Jasper's eyes lingered on me. Slowly, he smiled. An old classmate. I know him. The crowd cheered louder. Brother Mo, introduce him. Jasper leaned back, expression thoughtful, eyes sharp. His smile curled. Should I introduce him as the one who stole my watch? Or just by his name? The room fell silent. Laughter froze. Disdain filled every stare. 7 years vanished in an instant. The same scene replaying before me. Jasper's mocking smile hadn't changed. Finn shot up, furious. What are you saying? Don't you dare frame my brother. Were you to make things up? Jasper arched a brow, his fingers tapping the table lazily, testing me. Ask him yourself. His gaze dragged me back into that dark past. My eyes shifted to the empty seat beside him, a central seat reserved for someone important. It was clear Jasper wanted me gone before that person arrived. I gave a faint laugh. Worry. His smile flickered, gone in a heartbeat. But whether 7 years ago or now, my answer remained unchanged. Kai, never do such things. And as for that watch, was it really lost that year? I stared at him, searching his face. But before he could answer, the door burst open. The atmosphere snapped still. Jasper's face darkened instantly. I didn't look, but I felt the gaze on me. I grabbed Finn's arm and pulled him out. But as we passed the table, a hand caught my wrist. Not staying for dinner? Leaving already? The grip tightened slightly. Celeste's faint smile met me. Nothing you want to say to me? No. All right. She released me. The door shut behind me, the hallway falling into silence. I pulled Finn along, heading for the exit. But then, footsteps echoed behind us. It's raining. I'll take you both. Celeste had followed, her hand once again closing around my wrist. Finn peeked out, shivering at the soaked ground. The cold wind cut through us. I pulled my hand free, eyes forward. No need. I have a car. But Celeste didn't let me finish. She opened her umbrella, stepping into the rain. A pale pink Porsche slid smoothly to a stop at the door. I sighed, finally looking at her. Celeste was no longer the naive high school girl. She had become mature, alluring. The necklace at her fair neck shimmered, accentuating her beauty, surpassing even what I remembered. She was stunning. I have a car. I repeated, my voice tired. Celeste said nothing. She opened the door of her Porsche, standing there, her eyes locked on me. It felt as though she was forbidding me from leaving. If I didn't get in, it was hard to believe. The same person who once skipped school for a whole week because she thought I embarrassed her was now stubbornly insisting on taking me home in front of so many people. After a brief standoff, Finn drove my car around. Just as I was about to step forward, Celeste suddenly blocked me. Did you forget? Her voice was soft, tinged with a hint of grievance. We never broke up back then. I took a deep breath in the cold wind and replied calmly. Then I suppose I need to make up for it now. Celeste stood there, as if she wanted to say more. But before she could, the door behind us burst open. Jasper stepped out. His eyes immediately landed on Celeste and me, and his face darkened. Celeste. He walked over, naturally positioning himself between us. His voice was calm, but carried a sharp edge. Everyone's waiting for you. We still have to discuss the in-turf family marriage. Whenever Jasper spoke to Celeste, his tone always had a subtle emphasis, as though he was reminding her of something. She stopped in her tracks. I turned away and got into the car, closing the door. Celeste seemed to say something to Jasper, but the lock clicking shut cut off all sound from outside. I avoided looking at them, a faint bitter smile tugging at my lips in the silence. As the car started, Finn finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Good heavens, CEO Kai. Aren't you going to explain anything? Clearly, he hadn't heard what Celeste and I said earlier. He leaned closer, curiosity written all over his face. What's your relationship with her? High school classmate. Just a classmate, I replied casually. Just a classmate? Doesn't look like it at all. Finn pouted, clearly unconvinced. Then what kind of relationship do you want? I asked lightly. Finn widened his eyes, joking. CEO Kai, be careful. Don't say I didn't warn you. Women who are rich and beautiful like her aren't easy to win over. Look at my little girlfriend. Just because I spoke a little harshly, she's still angry and won't talk to me. Finn always used his girlfriend as a conversation starter. I just nodded perfunctorily. Thanks. My fault today. Next time I'll treat you to a grand meal. All right, next time I'll pick a really extravagant place. Okay, I'm here. See you around. Finn got out of the car, waving goodbye. Once he left, the car immediately fell quiet. I drove into an old apartment complex, parked, and got out. But just as I stepped into the rain, a Porsche cut through it and stopped right in front of me. Even more luxurious than the last one. This complex was poorly managed. The streetlights flickered weakly in the rain. I never expected Celeste to follow me here. The rain drummed steadily on her umbrella, the sound oddly reminiscent of how every encounter with her always seemed to involve rain. She held the umbrella up, as though trying to shield me. I sighed and reached to take it. Celeste looked up at me. Still haven't broken the habit of forgetting your umbrella when it rains. My eyes drifted to her hand resting lightly on my arm. Her middle finger was slightly bent, adorned with a delicate and beautiful couple's ring. The ring made her fair hand stand out even more. I stared for a few seconds, an unusual calm settling over me. Next time I'll remember, I replied, then met her eyes. So why are you here? We haven't finished talking, she said, still clinging to the subject of our breakup. I laughed. You came all this way, braving the rain, just to hear me say one more word about breaking up. Celeste stayed quiet, only looking at me. I didn't want to prolong this, but just as I was about to speak, she unexpectedly linked her arm through mine and pulled me into the complex. I resisted, but she pressed. "Which building are you in?" I stopped abruptly, yanked my arm free, and tossed the umbrella into the rain. The cold raindrops poured over me, soaking my jacket instantly. And in that moment, I finally admitted to myself, I wasn't as indifferent to Celeste as I pretended to be. In those first days after transferring schools, every night was filled with an inescapable pain. Lying on the cold hospital floor, I dreamed of my father leaving me. I dreamt of Celeste standing in the rain, looking at me with mockery in her eyes. That look haunted me for years, waking me up countless times. Each time, I would stare through the dim hallway light, only able to breathe once I was sure my father was still alive. Gradually, the dreams faded. I no longer felt pain. I thought my feelings for Celeste had faded too. But standing here now, I realized they hadn't vanished. They'd only been buried. "Please don't play games with me anymore." "All right." My voice was low. Celeste blinked, her expression carrying a flicker of hurt. I sighed, picked up the umbrella, and pressed it into her hand. "Go home." Without waiting for her reply, I turned and walked away. Her gaze clung to me like an arrow lodged in my back, not leaving until the door closed behind me. Only then did I exhale a long sigh of relief. Halfway up the stairs, I felt something in my jacket pocket. Under the dim light of the hallway, I opened my palm and saw a ring, identical to the one Celeste wore. When I pushed open the door and stepped inside, my father's eyes immediately met mine. I suppressed everything, showing nothing. I had just finished a new project and felt so happy. I went for a walk in the rain, like a child, still so childish. My father gave me a helpless look. "And how many times have I told you? It's cold. Put on more clothes. Put on another layer. Don't go to sleep right away." Later, after dinner, I slumped onto the sofa, drowsy. I realized my father had been talking a lot more lately. I came down with a high fever that lasted 2 days and night. My father was so worried he could hardly rest. I just told him I'd be fine after a good sleep. When I finally woke up, I saw Finn standing in my kitchen cooking, with a beautiful girl by his side. The sight made me laugh. "So, this must be the little girlfriend you always talk about." Finn didn't respond, just shot me a cold look. "You invited me to dinner, and now I'm the one cooking, and even delivering it to your bed." I laughed. "You? Cooking? Can it even be eaten? If you don't eat, get out," he shot back. Truthfully, Finn had no cooking skills at all, and his girlfriend even less so. After a single bite, I had nothing left to say. Her name was Chloe, a year younger than Finn. This was my first time meeting her. She had brought along a lot of things, many of them my favorites. My eyes lingered on the table full of food, 3 large cans of preserved peaches among them, something I had loved since childhood. But I said nothing. After we finished eating, Finn rushed off to work, not staying long. At the door, I called Chloe back. "Right. Since you two know each other, could you help me deliver this?" I held out the ring. Chloe looked stunned at first. Then recognition flickered in her eyes. She didn't take it immediately, only said, "I'm just delivering things. It would be better if you gave this to her yourself." I pretended not to hear, quickly slipping the ring into her hand. Chloe finally accepted it. As they left, I heard Finn complaining on the stairs. "This staircase is really old and run down. By the way, what did you just give her? That ring looks familiar." His voice faded, drowned out by the rain. I leaned against the door, closed my eyes for a few seconds, then shut it, collapsing onto the bed to sleep again. In my dream, the sky was always gray. I sat by the roadside, exhausted. Celeste's voice, gentle and tinged with worry, reached me. "You really don't want to eat anything? You have to eat a little, no matter what." I was about to say I didn't want to eat, but when I looked up and met her worried eyes, the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I said softly, "Preserved peaches." When I was little, whenever I had a fever, my father would always buy me preserved peaches. I knew Celeste didn't like them, but she still nodded. "Okay, wait here." I sat there, tired, waiting. Finally, as the sun dipped, she came back, carrying a heavy bag. She placed it in front of me, breathing heavily. "Is this it?" Inside were not only preserved peaches, but also many expensive snacks I had never even dreamed of. Surprised, I asked, "Why so much?" I asked in surprise. Celeste replied calmly, "They were cheap, so I just took a little of everything." "Eat now." "No," I said. "One can is enough." She watched me finish almost the entire can, then thought for a moment. "How about 3 cans?" When I woke up, it was already dark. The rain had been relentless for days, and the memories from my dream made me restless. It had been a long time since I dreamed of the past with Celeste. The living room was pitch dark, no lights on. The silence felt almost eerie. My father hadn't returned yet. For some reason, my heart suddenly beat faster, as if something unsettling was lurking nearby. I tilted my head back and drank half a glass of ice water. The cold liquid slid down my throat, but the discomfort in my chest only grew more pronounced. I put on my jacket, intending to go out for some fresh air and maybe find my father at the night market. Even though our financial situation had improved significantly in the past 2 years thanks to my business, my father stubbornly held on to his old job. As soon as I stepped out of the apartment complex, I noticed a Porsche parked not far away. In this old neighborhood, such cars rarely appeared, and it made many passers-by turn their heads. The owner leaned against the side of the car, their eyebrows and eyes blurred by the damp night air. But when they turned their head, their features matched my memories exactly. It was Celeste. "That ring was for you," she said, her voice a little choked. I didn't know how long she had been waiting in the night. "My family really did discuss an engagement with the Jasper family," she continued. "But I didn't agree. As for the watch incident, I wanted to resolve it quickly for you. But just then, something big happened with my family. That week, I was so busy, I didn't have time to think about anything else. When I returned to school, you had already transferred." Celeste paused for a moment, then continued softly, "Kai, I never intended to deceive you." I didn't look at her. Instead, I raised my head, staring at the faint moon hanging in the sky. "But back then, you didn't believe me either. You were just like everyone else, suspicious and mocking." Celeste's silhouette trembled slightly in the night wind. Her face was pale, and she didn't refute me. "I think Jasper was right," I continued. "We were never meant to be from the same world." Her eyes flashed with confusion, then pleading. "Don't say any more. Aren't you cold? Let's go inside." I ignored her words, calmly finishing my last sentence. "But Celeste, we broke up a long time ago. If you've forgotten, I don't mind reminding you again." Her face instantly turned stark white. She was about to say more when her phone rang, cutting her off. It was a call from my father's phone, but the voice on the other end wasn't his. The person sounded frantic. "Kai, your father's diner was vandalized. Come quickly." It was like a sword that had been hanging above my heart finally dropped, piercing me directly. Drunken troublemakers had smashed up my father's diner. In the chaos, my father was pushed to the ground. As I brought him back to the hospital, the smell of disinfectant filled the air, dragging me back to memories from 7 years ago. Numbness and helplessness flooded me, weighing heavily on my chest. I kept my expression blank, forcing down a gulp of ice water to suppress the frustration in my heart. But Celeste immediately snatched the bottle from my hand. "Don't drink anymore. You're still not over your cold. Your uncle will be fine. His health has been good these past few years. You just heard it, didn't you?" Her voice was gentle, as if she were afraid of upsetting me further. I lowered my head, saying nothing. Fortunately, nothing serious had happened. My father wasn't badly hurt, just a dislocated foot. After completing the admission procedures and arranging everything, it was already late. I stood at the hospital entrance, letting the cold wind whip over me for a few minutes before turning to leave. Celeste seemed to guess my intention. "Are you going home? I'll go with you." The apartment complex was indeed old. The hallway lights flickered, their glow unstable. Celeste walked carefully, but still stumbled several times. I quickly reached out to steady her, and I felt her hand trembling slightly. Her voice was choked. "You lived here after you transferred schools." I didn't answer. It was true. When I first transferred, my father and I moved into this complex. We had never moved since, because he found it troublesome to change. After settling my father's things, we returned together. Celeste only left when the sky was faintly light. Before she left, we sat at a roadside eatery, quietly eating a bowl of wontons. Celeste ate naturally this time, as if she could truly accept this simple meal. After eating, she looked at me and said, "I came here as soon as I finish my work. If anything happens, call me." "No need." I finished the last sip of soup, answering decisively. "Everything is clear now. Let's just end it here." Celeste paused for a moment, but said nothing further. After she left, I called Finn. "This time, I might need your little girlfriend's help. See if she can find out where Jasper was today." I then took a taxi to a luxurious 5-star hotel. Inside the private room, there were already quite a few people, mostly old high school classmates. My appearance froze the atmosphere for 2 seconds before chatter resumed. "Kai, the class president, why is he here? I don't remember inviting him. Is that really the poor class president from back then? He's changed so much." I ignored their murmurs, my eyes sweeping through the crowd until they locked on Jasper. "Kai." Jasper turned, clearly surprised to see me. Then he smiled, his voice mocking. "Why are you so free to be here today? Shouldn't you be at the hospital taking care of your uncle?" His words hadn't even finished when I stepped forward and grabbed him by the collar. Jasper flinched, his face paling, while I asked coldly, "Was it you?" He struggled in pain, but I only tightened my grip. "Was what happened to my father you're doing?" The entire room fell silent. Eyes filled with doubt and astonishment fixed on us. I dragged him into the restroom, shoving him against the sink. Cold water splashed down. Jasper struggled harder, but I pinned him in place, my voice ice cold. "That year, after I accepted Celeste's confession, you staged the watch incident to isolate me. And now you're using my father to warn me." I gritted my teeth, leaning in close, my words a low snarl. "I'm not competing with you, but don't pull this stunt again. If anything happens to my father, I'll settle the score with you." Jasper had clearly never been treated like this before. Flustered and furious, his eyes were bloodshot as he stared at me. But from beginning to end, he didn't deny a single word. On my way to confront him, I had thought a lot. That year, no one found the watch thief. But 7 years later, as soon as I met Jasper again, my father's usually peaceful diner was vandalized by drunken men who only targeted a stall. At first, I was only suspicious. But when I saw Jasper's meaningful smile, I was almost immediately certain. The entire room, every single eye, was on Jasper now, filled with doubt, shock, and disbelief. No one thought that someone always considered polite and amiable like Jasper could be behind such dirty tricks. So the watch incident that year was really staged by Jasper. Someone finally spoke. The class president was really wrong that year. It seems Jasper was the first one to search his bag. The murmurs grew louder, unearthing forgotten memories. With every word, Jasper's face paled further. I felt everyone's eyes on me. But this time, those eyes were no longer filled with contempt like they had been 7 years ago. A moment later, a girl who once deliberately avoided me, even hiding her wallet whenever she saw me, suddenly spoke in a soft voice. "I'm sorry." 7 years later, the positions between Jasper and me had completely reversed. I don't remember how I left the hotel, only that when I stepped outside, the blinding sunlight made me squint. I looked up at the sky for a few seconds, then lower my gaze. On my way back to the hospital, I bought some sugar-roasted chestnuts, my father's favorite. When I reached the hospital room door, I paused, hearing my father's laughter as he spoke to Celeste. "You've truly gone to so much trouble, running around in the middle of the night," he said warmly. Celeste, bringing lunch, replied gently. After arranging things, her voice calm, Celeste said, "It's no trouble at all. Kai is the busy one." My father chuckled, took a few bites of rice. Then, as if remembering something, he said to Celeste, "Thank you and Jasper for lending us that money back then. With that money, my son and I were able to manage moving to a new city without too much difficulty. Kai used to talk about you, but after that, you two seemed to lose touch." He talked on and on, only realizing something was off when he reached the end. He looked up, seeing Celeste's pale face, clearly distressed. "What's wrong?" my father asked in surprise. Celeste's eyes slowly settled on him, her eyelashes trembling slightly. What money? When Celeste left, her expression was still vague, not noticing me standing in the corner of the hallway. I calmly walked into the room, handing my father the bag of sugar-roasted chestnuts. "Dad, try some. They're delicious," I said. He replied, then paused for a few seconds, suddenly asking, why was Celeste so upset just now? Doesn't she know about that money? My hand paused slightly as I peeled a chestnut. After a silence of a few seconds, I said softly, "I don't know. Maybe she forgot. It was a long time ago." In the late afternoon, the last rain of autumn returned. Celeste brought dinner, but my father noticed her complexion hadn't improved, so he didn't ask much. Throughout the meal, she didn't look at anyone, quietly finished eating, then went out into the hallway and turned to me. "The troublemakers have been dealt with. Also, I saw an apartment for rent these past 2 days that's very suitable. When you have time, you should move out of that old apartment complex." I silently looked at her for a few seconds, then asked, "Don't lie to me. Is it really just a rental?" Celeste didn't answer. I felt restless, walked to the hallway window, and opened it. The cold wind blew in, making me more uncomfortable since my cold hadn't fully healed. I coughed a few times, then said, "Celeste, 7 years is a very long time. You're only feeling this way now because you just met me again and are temporarily unwilling to accept it, right?" "No." Celeste suddenly cut me off, her voice low. "It's not unwillingness. I know the difference between liking someone and not. After you transferred schools, I searched for you for a very long time. When I saw you push open the door and walk in, you don't know how happy I was. I was afraid it was just a dream. I never thought we would break up back then, and I still don't now." She looked directly into my eyes, continuing, "I didn't know anything about Jasper lending you money, and I wouldn't have done that." At this point, Celeste suddenly stopped as if realizing something. "Did you guess early on that the money wasn't for me? But does it matter?" I took a deep breath of the cold wind, a faint smile on my face. "Didn't you also guess that the watch incident wasn't right back then? But you still believe that Jasper wasn't lying. So why, Celeste? Do you think I would do such a thing?" Celeste's face was ashen, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't utter a word. Perhaps she finally realized that between us, it wasn't just a misunderstanding that could be solved with an explanation, but an irreparable chasm. She continued, her voice choked. "I was wrong back then, but over the years, I've really tried to change. Kai, please don't break up." Perhaps the wind was too cold, making my eyes sting. I felt tired, looking down at Celeste's face, and asked softly, "Celeste, can you please stop clinging to me? I'm really not interested in your games, those of you rich young masters and ladies." The sunset slowly faded, and the hallway became quiet. Celeste stood there motionless, her eyes red, looking at me for a long time. Finally, she closed her eyes and softly uttered a single word. "Okay." After that day, Celeste seemed to disappear completely. My father also gradually recovered, able to walk slowly on his own. Everything began to move in a more stable direction. On New Year's Eve, I received a text message from Celeste. "Can we meet one last time?" In the blizzard, she stood waiting for me on the white snow. "Happy New Year." Celeste's voice was soft, as if melting into the wind and snow. "Make a wish." I remembered the high school New Year's Eve when Celeste used to run to me, telling me to make a wish. She said, "New Year's Eve was when wishes came true." I closed my eyes and wished that my father and I would always be safe and prosperous. When I opened my eyes, I saw her standing still, her eyes calm, but illuminated by the fireworks on the horizon. For a moment, I was about to say something, but then I gently shook my head, refusing, "No, I won't take it." The light in Celeste's eyes dimmed. I let out a breath, unsure what else to say. "It's too cold. Let's end it here." Celeste seemed to want to say something, but in the end remained silent. I turned and walked away into the snowstorm. I heard her voice softly behind me. "Happy New Year." I didn't turn back, just like 7 years ago in the rain. When I took my father for a follow-up hospital visit, I coincidentally met Jasper again. In the time we hadn't seen each other, he had lost a lot of weight. His arms and legs were bandaged, He seemed to be on the phone, his voice filled with irritation. So, Celeste, not even friends anymore. It wasn't clear what the other end said, but Jasper's face turned pale. Then he angrily threw his phone to the floor. By the time I finished my procedures and turned back, he had left. At home, Finn brought Chloe over, making an excuse that it was to celebrate my father's recovery, but really to share a meal. By the way, I still don't know how you and your girlfriend made up, I teased. I heard you almost made her cry. Finn's face swelled with pride. It's nothing big. Just knelt on durian shells. That's all. A man just needs to not lose face in front of his girlfriend, right? After some playful chaos, Finn suddenly asked me, "You know what? I heard both Jasper and Celeste got into car accidents, one after the other right on New Year's Day. They're both still in the hospital." I didn't answer, just nodded faintly. In fact, not only did I know, I had witnessed it with my own eyes. Finn didn't notice my silence. Quickly changing the subject, I peeled half an orange and put it in my mouth, my eyes unconsciously looking out the window. Today, the sun was bright with no trace of rain or snow. From the kitchen, my father's voice rang out. "Time to eat." Hearing that, Finn scurried into the kitchen faster than a rabbit, shouting as he ran, "Hurry up, Chloe. Hurry up. Kai loves chicken wings. If you're not fast, he'll eat them all." Chloe, who was sitting on the sofa, jumped up and rushed into the kitchen. "Finn, 2 against 1. Are you out of red packets this year or something?" Finn turned, his voice mournful. "No, I'm sorry. All right." After dinner, the house gradually grew quiet. Finn and Chloe also left, leaving just my father and me in our small but warm space. My father sat on the couch, watching a New Year's program, nibbling on roasted chestnuts. I sat by the window, watching the street lights outside and listening to the soft rain begin to fall again. I thought about the past 7 years, about the misunderstandings, the pain, and the things I had never said. My world and Celeste's, though they had once intersected, turned out to be 2 parallel lines that could never reach a common end. Celeste's last message was still on my phone. "Happy New Year, Kai." I hadn't replied, hadn't deleted it, just left it there like a segment of memory. Some relationships aren't because you don't love, but because you can't continue. My father broke the silence. "Kai, you've truly grown up. From now on, no matter what happens, remember that I'm always here." I smiled faintly and nodded. "I know, Dad." Outside, the rain had stopped. The night sky was clear, the faint moonlight shining down. I stepped out onto the porch and took a deep breath. Life had its imperfections, but that was precisely what made it special. Tomorrow was a new day. My father and I would continue to live peacefully and securely, just as I had quietly wished on New Year's Eve. As for the past, I would let it recede into memory, keeping only the most beautiful parts in my heart.